how's it going today? Today we're going to review some stocks. I always do this regardless of they're good, bad, or whatever. I believe I'm probably one of the only YouTubers out there that actually reviews their stocks that they pick. I mean, it's easy to pick them, but it's hard to, sometimes when you lose them, and some of these have not performed well, but I still come out here and I go still talk about them. I go do the free months first and then the 6 months. And make sure you like, subscribe. I always pick stocks and do this. I actually have some reviews coming out. So make sure you subscribe and like the video. I always come out. Leave a comment on too if you bought these or what your opinions is and all this and all that, or correct me if I'm wrong or whatever you want to do down in the comments. Leave a comment. Hopefully it's good, but if it's bad, that's fine too. You know what I mean? I like the honesty. But anyway, we get right into it. I picked these free stocks 3 months ago, and I think it was August. But anyway, the first one was CrowdStrike, Fico, and then Activision Blizzard. And we're just going to get right into it. Really, and as you can see, the one that I said was going to be a hot stock and don't put all your eggs in one basket was the one that got hit the most. It was down, I think, almost 50%. So, I mean, CrowdStrike is one of these, it's cybersecurity play, which I believe the market, for some reason, the market turned on us in late July. And for some reason, they came out and they was like, you know what, we're done buying these growth stocks. We don't care anymore. And they sold them all off. So all these growth stocks that because I normally buy growth stocks, but normally in the long term, they do perform better than the S&P because the S&P has value and growth, and it's just kind of a slow crumbling giant, but it keeps moving forward. It's hard to stop it. But these things are kind of like, they go up a lot, they go down a lot. So essentially it's just the volatility, and that's only 3 months out. I mean, I always think years. I mean, look from a year or really 2 years. I mean, it took Nvidia to go up 15 times. It took over 3 years to do that. It didn't happen overnight. Or Shopify, I mean, that stock's went over 22 times, but that's been almost 3 years. And I had a bad year, 2018. It actually got crushed by the market. So essentially, if you look at for that, but if you look at for the long term, that's why I always think with CrowdStrike, it's actually down 31%. It came back a little bit with some upgrades because it got oversold, which I believe it did a little bit. And the next one is Fico. I gotta leave a link down in the descriptions on the stocks. I'm not gonna go fully into them. Basically, what it is, it's the Fair Isaac Corporation. It's like Fico. We all heard it's a financial tech. I'm a big fan of financial, a fintech or financial tech, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it does with your credit and stuff like that. So essentially, this is why a stock I've been holding for a while. Recommended it. It's only up 6%. The market's up over 7%. So it's losing a little bit, but I believe Fico is one of these stocks. Once again, it got hit for some reason. It sold off because it has a lot of growth. I mean, this company, I would love to see where this company's at in 5. Even 10 years from now, where FICO's at. I guarantee it's a lot bigger. I mean, think about it. It's one of these companies nobody really talks about, but everybody uses it. Everybody really kind of needs it. I mean, if you buy a car or anything, they're always checking your credit score, and FICO is one of them companies that does that. Unless the only thing with FICO is maybe the government. I mean, there's some Bernie Sanders attacking this company, or companies like it, that one company shouldn't really dictate your company. The government should do it. So maybe there's some thing going on, but I don't think that's why it fell. It was just kind of selling off, taking profits. The mutual fund managers, they gotta make sure their profits are good. So that's why a lot of growth stocks just sell off and they kind of buy value. Then that gets bid up, and then they sell off. That because they're like, oh well. They're kind of overvalued, and they get overvalued, which I believe that transition is slowly happening. I believe these companies are coming back. The next one is actually the only one to beat the S&P over a 3-month period, which once again is a very short time frame. Is Activision Blizzard. They make Call of Duty, so it's actually up 10%. I believe Activision Blizzard, they say it gets one of these things. It kind of sold off because it had some controversial. I mean, Activision's so massive that, it was some things with Hong Kong, some protesting. People got upset, and people started going, oh, I hate Activision Blizzard and all this, and the stock sold off because of that. But anyway, if you would have bought the S&P, you've been up 7% with $3,000. That puts you at 3,210 if you would have bought these free at the same time, which I always hold them for longer periods than 3 months. I just check on them. You got to check on once in a while, look at them and say, oh, well, see what's going on. You've been at 2,850. That's a $360 difference. So really not really that big of a difference, really. I mean, maybe, these companies, they can, CrowdStrike is going up. It's up 20% this week. So essentially that stock can keep going up. Fico, so essentially it's just a small amount, Don't panic. Don't run on the banks yet. Anyway, going on the 6 months ones, I picked Amazon, Wix, and Shopify, and these ones are actually down a little bit, but it's not as bad as the markets once again. For some reason this year they hate Amazon. I don't know what it is. Amazon's one of these companies, it doesn't really care about profitability. See, Wall Street in investment, it's kind of weird. The Wall Street, with the stock market, they care about growth, but then they care about earnings, and they just go back and forth. What is better, growth or earnings? So essentially, if someone says, well, if you don't have top line, you can't fake top line. So essentially, top line growth is where it's at. It shows that the company is reinvesting its things, and it will grow and grow and grow. But then someone will say, well, if there's no earnings and there's no profitability, why would I buy the company? Who's right? Actually, if you do the numbers, actually the revenue, the people that focus on the revenue actually do like better. Look at Jeff Bezos. He doesn't care about the earnings. You can go way back in 1999 when he wrote for the shareholders. He's like, well, we don't really care about short-term profitability. And Amazon's one of the prime examples of they not really care. They care about profitability, but they won't. With the 1-day shipping, it's kind of it's a down year for Amazon, and it probably will be a down year until it kind of maybe next year could go back up. But it's only down 6%. So it's really not that bad. And the next one is Wix. It's one of these growth stocks. It just got hammered. It's only down 7%, so really not that bad. It had some earnings report. Actually, it was actually up, but then it had some earnings reports, some lightness, and they were like, oh, I'm out. With these growth stocks, as soon as growth gets challenged just slightly, they're out. And it just gets hit a little bit. But actually, it's actually making a recovery today. So God only knows where this thing's going to be in a day or two or next week or whatever. And that's why it's kind of hard to do the reviews, because I'm just doing at the price now. When I picked it, and it might at 7%, it can go right back up 10% tomorrow, or for some good news, or it gets an upgrade. God only knows, or it can go down. But anyway, that's why I always hold them for years. And then the stock in this one is Shopify. It's up 24% over the last 6 months. Shopify was actually up over 50%, and actually was when I picked it. It actually was crushing the S&P and actually was boosting this whole kind of portfolio group of stocks up into the thing. But then it sold off heavily. Shopify, because actually in the 3 months it was doing well. In the 6 months, it sold off a little bit. Was it warranted? Maybe, maybe not. I believe it was kind of overblown a little bit. I think it ran up a little too much, not sold off too much. Really, around 350 is where the stock would be reasonably priced at. It's down at the 320s or the 316s. It has some more upsides at this level. I believe these are actually almost a buying opportunity for a majority of all these stocks. I still recommend them. I still like them. I'm definitely not going to sell any. The S&P been doing pretty well. I believe it's kind of been driven by Apple and Microsoft doing well. And S&P's up 8%. So if you would have bought mine versus the S&P, would you have 3,240? If you would have bought mine, you would have bought $3,110. So it's $130 difference. Give it a week, it might be back or back down. So essentially, that's it. The reviews, I always review them. And like I said, make sure you subscribe and everything. And comment down if you bought them. Any concerns. and everything like that. I always check out the comments, always read the comments, make sure you like the video, comment, and I will see you on the next episode or coming out. So, thank you. Bye.